You know what this is, child, don't you?
Plans?
Yes. Caesar Nero made it. For rebuilding Rome. Let me see. Where are we now? 64 A.D. July. Yes, of course. He sets fire to Rome.
I know about that, Doctor.
Yes, he must expect his plan. It will be ready at any time now.
Maximus.
Must you hiss my name from all corners?
I'm sorry, but I have news.
Yes?
Nero has arranged for you to play in the arena.
Oh, has he now? Well, I must have misjudged the fellow.
And as you play, the lions will be released.
Oh, that will be charming.
Well, obviously you must leave here before this concert.
Oh, obviously.
So if you still intend to carry on with your plan, today is your last chance to kill Nero.
Yes, yes. Kill Nero? I beg your pardon?
Maximus, when you first sent word from Corinth of your intention to murder the Caesar Nero, I informed your allies in the court.
Oh, yes, you did you? Yes.
And then, when the assassins left here to waylay you on your journey, naturally I thought that was the end.
Yes, but I arrived here.
Yes, Maximus, you arrived here.
And the centurion who was killed by my allies was the man that knew all about my plans, and Nero didn't.
Yes, we all know that, but my main concern now, Maximus, is that you should act on what I say.
I shall certainly act on what you say, immediately.
Good, good, good. And the lions will go hungry after all, eh?
Yes.
Welcome, everyone, to an all-new episode of Doctor Who and Mr. Drew. It's your old time-traveling companion, John S. Drew here, and we're taking a look at the first time trip with new companion Vicki in the four-part story, The Romans. Now, The Romans has a lot going for it. After the last 8 episodes where we are dealing with epic changes from Susan leaving to the Daleks to Vicki arriving, it's nice to see us settling down into a historical adventure that's going to establish the relationship with the Doctor and Vicki. The story was written by Dennis Spooner and directed by Christopher Barry. Spooner wrote the previous historical The Reign of Terror. Barry directed the previous The Rescue, and it was felt that he should stay on to keep a sense of continuity. It was a good idea. The episode titles are The Slave Traders, All Roads Lead to Rome, Conspiracy, and Inferno. The episodes aired from January 16th to January 6th. Let me do that one again. January 16th to February 6th, 1965, and the production is lettered A. When I said this episode establishes the relationship with the Doctor and Vicki, I'm not kidding. I mentioned in the last podcast that the Doctor really only meets Vicki about halfway through the second and final episode of The Rescue. There wasn't much time to set up much in the way of a relationship. In this story, the TARDIS lands in ancient Rome, where the four have set up home in the villa of a family on vacation. The Doctor is determined to visit nearby Rome, and Vicki wants to go along with him. With some verbal manipulation, more in the vein of the Doctor that we saw at the start of this whole series, he manages to trick Ian and Barbara into remaining behind. The problem is, shortly afterwards, the villa is attacked by slavers, and Ian and Barbara are captured. What follows is a series of humorous moments amidst the life and death struggle of Ian and Barbara as they deal with their captivity. Now, meanwhile, the Doctor and Vicki discover the body of Maximus Battalion, noted musician. The Doctor is mistaken for Battalion by a Roman guard and escorted to his meeting with Nero. Barbara is a slave in Nero's home, and therein lies some of the comedy, almost on a Shakespearean level, as there are some near encounters between the three. There's some nice little moments in this story. Again, I know it goes against the Doctor in most of his incarnations, but, he gets into it again in a fight with an assassin in Nero's home, and he even comments to Vicki how satisfying it is sometimes to engage in fisticuffs. I've also noticed that Hartnell appears to really be enjoying the role now. There's a gleam in his eye and a lilt in his voice that is not as apparent in the earlier episodes. If you saw the biographical movie An Adventure in Space and Time, Hartnell was reluctant to take the part at first. Clearly at this point, even with the departure of his beloved Carol Ann Ford, Hartnell is relishing the role of the Doctor. We get another reference to the Doctor's past as he mentions his encounter with Hans Christian Andersen. I also love their take on the Emperor's New Clothes, as the Doctor doesn't play a song on the harp when he's Maximus Battalion, but makes it look like he is, which sets a jealous, harp-playing Nero against him. In fact, overall, what interests me more in this story was the Dr. Vicki take on the adventure rather than the Ian Barbara one, although I did find Nero's pursuit of Barbara funny. And something else struck me as I was watching the ending. There's Tavius watching the travelers depart for the TARDIS, and he wishes them well. As he does so, he clutches a crucifix. It always amazes me to see such an open display of religion on television. It makes sense, obviously, in the setting, but I can't help but feel a modern-day take on this story would leave this little element out. Star Trek did something similar in their episode Bread and Circuses. It adds a level of realism that I think modern-day storytelling tries to avoid in order to be PC. So where does this stack up in my rankings? I place it firmly in the middle of the first 12 stories, with the Aztecs, the Daleks, Marco Polo, and the Dalek invasion of Earth just ahead of it. But what do you think? Am I on track with your way of thinking? Let me know by visiting the Chronic Rift website or over on our Chronic Rift Facebook page. And stay tuned for the next adventure. This is going to be a rough one. The Web Planet. I've never been a fan of it. Until next time, take care.
And you see, after that, he got up and he started pretending to play the lyre. And the point was, he wasn't really playing it at all.
But no one would admit that they couldn't hear him.
Exactly, he fooled everybody.
Usually does, Vicki. You'll see.
Oh, well. Much as I like these clothes, I really think we ought to change into something a little more practical.
Yes, you're right. Where will we go next? Has the Doctor told you yet?
Oh, no, he never does that.
You mean it's a surprise?
Yes, to everybody.
But the Doctor can work the ship, can't he?
Yes.
Sort of.
Go on, he must know what he's doing. He's been at those controls for hours. I don't believe you. Come on, Barbara.
Anything wrong, Doctor?
Huh? Oh, Chesterton, yes, I wouldn't have thought it possible, but somehow we've materialized for a split second of time and been imprisoned in some kind of force. I simply can't break its hold. Somewhere, somehow, we're being slowly dragged down.
Dragged down? To what?